going down a new road. Never been down this road before. I like to go down the road less taken. It's kind of my personality. I've always been an off the beaten path kind of person. I remember even as a little kid, like whatever it was that the masses thought was cool or the masses got excited about, I usually felt the opposite. Like, you know, being in grade school, for example, and on a field trip, and teacher would be like, "Could be able to get some ice cream at this next stop," and everybody would get all excited and noisy and jump up and down, and I would be like, "Oh, great. Gotta make another stop and wait in line with all these annoying kids." I mean, I was a little kid and I loved ice cream, but that's just always the way I am. That's just my personality. Like, I've never been a keeping up with the Joneses kind of girl because I probably don't like the Joneses too much. And, you know, sometimes whenever that's your personality, society can treat you like it's a personality flaw or a character flaw. Especially whenever you're a Christian. Like, we're all supposed to be excited for each other and love each other, and you should enjoy spending time around other people. And I'm just kind of an introvert, and it kind of sucks all the life out of me to be around especially larger groups of people. I'm okay up until about 5. I get over 5 and it's just exhausting. It's one of the reasons why I was so freaking excited to get out of the city. Like, it's just so many freaking people. Can't even, it's very, very difficult to get away and get solitude and to escape all of the chaotic energy whenever you live in a city. Like, usually you have to get out of the city to make that happen if you don't have someplace, set up in your home that is kind of your sanctuary. Okay, this is freaking gorgeous down in here. I'm a fan. Y'all, I've seen so many Trump flags today. Like, it's crazy how many Trump flags I've seen today. It could possibly be that because that is my personality, that could possibly be one of the reasons why I find socialism and communism so freaking repulsive. I look at like communist China and the way those people live, like there's millions of them crammed into cities, and even rich people there in apartments because there's just not enough room for everybody, and it's just the thought of that stresses me out. Like, this is freedom right here, where I am right here, driving down this back country road I've never been on before, in the middle of the forest. That's freedom. Freedom is owning your own little plot, and that's been the American dream forever. People came here at great peril, left their countries and their homes and their villages at great peril, and traveled here for hundreds of years for a chance to start over and have a taste of freedom. To have a little house of their own on a little piece of land of their own, and for the right to worship how they wanted, for the right to live the way they wanted and to be free, to be entrepreneurs, to be farmers, to be business people. That's what America was built on. And for these socialists to come in and try and fundamentally transform our country and to take that all away from us. Have y'all heard of Agenda 21? Have you all really looked into this new world order the globalists are trying to force on us? Do you know they don't want any independent land ownership? You can't have this. This is very cool. I think this is the North Fork of the White River here, and it is beautiful. Of course, you ain't getting across this whenever the water's high. Yeah, they don't want any independent land ownership. They don't want any of us out in the country. They want everybody in cities. I mean, this is their plan. This is not some conspiracy theory. This is not some out there crazy conspiracy theory. This is in writing. This is what the globalist agenda is. And I read just a brief post, and I can't remember where I saw it. If I come across it again, I'll post it. By somebody who was in Venezuela. They were an entrepreneur in Venezuela before, that election was stolen. And communism and socialism moved in. And they said life was beautiful. It was a capitalistic life. It was great. And part of the way that they moved them from capitalism to socialism was they shut all the small businesses down. Because you can't have thriving small businesses and thriving entrepreneurs for socialism to work. And you look at these blue governors on these blue states, some of the most socialistic states we have, like California, and how they are still trying to keep everything shut down using the excuse of COVID. They're purposefully trying to put people out of business so they can usher in this new world order. Did you know that in the past 20 years, COVID is the fourth deadliest pandemic in the last 20 years? How many other times have we been locked down like this? Oh, none. Because that's not what it's really about. So here I am out for my drive, scouting properties for clients. And it occurs to me how lucky and blessed I am that A, I get to do this for a living. B, that I get to help people in a tremendous way. And C, that this dream, the American dream, is still available. There are other people like Randy and I that are going to pack up and leave the liberal socialist cities they're in and move out to freedom. And we are so blessed and lucky that at this point, it's still an option. Will it be an option 4 years from now? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Guess that depends on who's in charge. So anyway, just keep that in mind, folks. Whatever you're tired and you're sick of hearing about it and you're feeling like it's over and you don't want to fight anymore and you just want things to go back to the way they used to be, think long and hard about it. Because if we give up now, President Trump is going to let us know whenever it's time to give up. He is going to let us know whenever it's over. And until he gives us that signal, we got to fight like hell. There are some real old houses and old farmsteads in here. I mean, 1920s. A bunch of them. Wow, this is gorgeous. I want to talk a little bit about where we're at with the market. Not much has changed as far as we still are experiencing extremely low inventory. But that being said, I want you to know, if you have a healthy budget, if you have a budget of, you know, $200,000 or more, if you have a budget of $250,000, we can still find you pretty much a dream property. A nice house with outbuildings, fence, cross fence on 10 acres is super doable at $250,000. We are seeing less and less and less of anything under $100,000. And even 150 is starting to get real tight. 200 is kind of our new low bottom for something halfway decent. But if you're over 200, we can find you something nice. I mean by nice? I mean a house bigger than 1,200 square feet, probably at least a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that doesn't need much work, on a nice piece of land, at least 10 acres, with outbuildings, fence, and cross fence. That's what I mean when I say nice. Because everybody has a different interpretation of nice. Now, you want 3,500 square feet on 20 to 50 acres with all those same amenities, you're going to be up at 300, 350, somewhere in there. You want a log cabin house, like a real one, you're going to be over 300. If you're more of a farmer slash grower than you are a farmer slash rancher, you can do a lot on smaller acreage. You can do a lot on 2.5 acres. Where the need for more acreage really comes in, aside from privacy, is you know, if you want to farm animals or ranch, you know, you want to have 50 head of cattle, you got to have some space. Even if you just want to have one beef cow, one milk cow, a couple of pigs, some chickens, you know, you're probably looking at a minimum of 5 acres, and you're going to have to do some pretty good rotation to keep that land in good shape. This is Bakersfield, Missouri. I've never come in from this direction before. It's a cool little town. There used to be a really cool old antique store down here, which was really just this old timer that had collected a bunch of junk. And but I found like some good cast iron, stuff like that. And looks like he has moved on, and I don't know if he has moved on house-wise or moved on, moved on. But it was a cool place, and I used to drive down here just to check it out because I am all about the old antique kind of stuff. I think a lot of folks don't realize how vast America is, how big our nation is. The first time I ever drove cross country, I drove from Wisconsin to Oregon. I was about 30. And I had been all over the Midwest before then. Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana. Had driven all through all of that. And so I had an idea, that the states were large. But it didn't really hit me how vast our country is until I took that trip from Wisconsin to Oregon. Drove through the Rocky Mountains, South Dakota, part of Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, into Oregon, Minnesota. And then, having driven from Oregon down to Arizona, and then Nevada to here, this country is vast. We're not like Europe. And this idea that they want to lock us all down in cities and take away our freedoms to worship the way we want and do the kind of work that we want to do, make the kind of living we want to make, to be entrepreneurs, to be artists, to be free people, free thinkers, to own our own bit of land, to live like truly free Americans. It's just repugnant to me, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, just leave us alone, and I think that's where the silent majority of us have been for all these years. Why we have been silent is because we just want to be left alone to worship, to live our lives, raise our families, go to work. Just leave us alone. And it's kind of been our unspoken contract. Like, you leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. And they don't want to leave us alone anymore, folks. They want to come after us. They want to come for us. And we've got to decide, are we going to take a stand or are we going to fall? And you won't catch it on the national news. You won't catch it on mainstream news. You won't even catch very much of it on social because they have done a pretty good job of censoring it. But if you look hard enough, you will see that other nations are behind us. The people, the common folk, the silent majority of other nations realize that if the United States falls, we all fall. And there are folks in Great Britain, in other parts of Europe, in the Middle East, in South America, who have been holding their own quote-unquote Trump rallies in support of a free America. Because they all know the same thing we know. That if Biden really does get cheated in, our way of life, it's over. And that's not a scare tactic. I mean, they have made it very clear. That's their goal. That is their goal. And if you don't believe it, then ask yourself, why have they locked down vast portions of Americans for a virus that has a 99.1% survivability rate? That is the fourth worst virus we've seen in the past 20 years. Yet it's the first one they've locked us all down for. Why now? What is happening now, globally, and now at this moment in history, that they are coming after us so hard? And all you have to do is follow the money. Follow these global corporations. Follow the 10 richest people in the world. Follow the elites. See where they meet. See what kind of meetings they have. See what's on the agenda at the meetings. See what they've put in writing. They've laid out their plan pretty clear. Are we going to stand or are we going to let it fall? That's the question. And I think, let's call it that, the falling isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to be a gradual decline and a gradual fall. I personally think within the next 4 to 8 years, we'll see it happen. Where do you want to be while it's all falling apart? That's the question. Where do you want to be? Because population density matters. Who your neighbors are matters. Who you're surrounded with matters. Who is leading in your local city, town, state matters on how hard or how smooth the transitioning is. All to get as free as you possibly can is real. These globalists aren't going to give up. Even if Trump does manage to beat the cheating, fraud, lying, conniving back and maintain another 4 years, that just gives us 4 more years to get ready. Because this march to globalism, it's not going to stop. They're not going to give up. They're the richest, most powerful people in the world, and corporations in the world want it that way, and they're not going to give up. So we may get some extra time to prepare. That's what I'm hoping. That's truly why I want Trump in so desperately. It's not that I think Trump is the next savior. I hear people all the time, like people come and leave crazy comments in the comment section, rambling on about how, we think that he's a savior and we should put any man up above God and blah, blah, blah. I don't know anybody of all the conservatives I know that thinks Trump is our savior. We just know that he is standing in the breach right now. Like, it is the march to globalism on one side, us on the other side, and Trump standing in the middle with his finger in the dike. Like, if he's out, we've got nobody left on our side. So that's what it's all about. It's not about worshiping Trump or thinking Trump is our savior or thinking Trump is above God or any crazy thing like that. It's an awareness of where we are on the geopolitical spectrum. And that we have one person that we know without a shadow of a doubt who has shown himself to respect and honor the Constitution and freedom and the American way of life, and that's Donald Trump. And there's a couple of folks along with him, thank God. We got a couple of folks in the Supreme Court, thank God. We got a couple of U.S. senators, thank God. A couple of Congress people, thank God. But not enough. We don't have enough. Because one of the biggest players behind globalism is China, and they've got a lot of money, and they don't have any problem paying people off, and people are greedy as all get out. You should try doing real estate in a market like this with honor and integrity. You learn how greedy people are in a hurry and what they will do for the almighty dollar. It's a sad state of affairs. But yeah, that's why there's the big push for Trump. It's not because we worship Trump. That's not it. He's a man. You know who else was a man who had a lot of issues? King David. You know who else was a man who had some personal baggage? Moses. You know who else was a man who struggled with a lot of things? Peter and Paul. Is he sent by God? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. All I know is he's standing in the breach, and we desperately need somebody who's willing to do that for our country right now. We are very blessed and fortunate to have some other big players who are willing to do the same. Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, all of those folks, Giuliani. I mean, Giuliani, you look at what he did. People make fun of him. Oh, crazy old man with the hair dye. Oh, he's a crazy loon. They make fun of him. People forget what he did to the mob. People forget how he cleaned up New York City, which was a cesspool. This is not his first battle with fraud and corruption and evil. And thank God for him. And I hope you're all praying for them all, as I am. Because they certainly need it. If you're looking in this area for land or housing and you want to make sure you get something that is defensible and will provide some amount of safety and stability. If you're thinking about building, creating that, and you need some help, Randy consults on that, and he's amazing. So please reach out to us. If you are in the construction trades and you are thinking about relocating here, and you want to have a job whenever you land, and you are an honest person with integrity, hit us up. We're still looking for employees. If you are thinking about relocating here, or you are in this area and you have someone in your family that has special needs, please hit us up. We're trying to connect with that community as well. If you are in this area and you would like to meet up to talk about building community, growing community, how we can watch out for each other with whatever is coming, be it next week, next month, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years from now, hit us up. We'd love to talk to you. I hope you all have a blessed day. Work towards freedom today, folks. Work towards freedom. I'll catch you on the next one.